A very good morning to all. Let's begin with the fourth chapter of Book A. And in this regard, only that is alternative centers of power. And in this regard, only we had already done this European Union, which is the strongest alternative power other than America, which we had discussed separately as US hegemony. Now the other center of power which has been coming up in a very strong manner, that is Association of Southeast Asian Nations, that is ASEAN. And when we talk about this Southeast Asian countries which are the member of ASEAN, when we go for their background, these countries, they have the same history which most of the countries of Asia, they have been having the history of colonialism, the history of slavery by the Western countries, etc. So as a result of that, in after the Second World War, in that 1945 until 1945 to 1950, that was the time when most of the countries of Asia and Africa, they were becoming independent. Even our own country had become independent during that time only, 1947. These countries of Southeast Asian region, they had this severe problem of poverty and economic backwardness, and they tried at their level best, and even more than other problems, like which was a very common problem, poverty and economic backwardness, which was a very common problem of any of the newly independent country. Other than that, they had this problem which was also a common problem of that time, because after now 1945 till 1990, that was the era of Cold War. So these countries, they had to choose which pole they had to go with. Either they follow the ideology of the USSR or they go with the US. These countries, they tried at their level best. They they went for the third pole as well. They signed this. They participated in Bandung conference as well, which was related to non-aligned movement also. But even then, they go for third world unity also, but even then they were not able to solve the problem of their economic benefits. They were not even able to solve a number of economic issues related to international trade, related to technology. They were not getting the kind of trigger which they needed, especially in their economic growth. And at that time, keeping in mind this economic benefit only, this Association of Southeast Asian Nations, it came into formation. That was ASEAN. The Southeast Asian nations sought an alternative by establishing the Association for Southeast Asian Nations. Its basic objective was only economic one, but later on it has turned into a forum which works for security, which respects the sovereignty of each and every country, each and every member country, and at the same time they believe in any kind of dispute is whatever is over there. They believe in it is to be sorted out through talks only. It was established, ASEAN was established in 1967 by 5 countries. And the names of those 5 countries are Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore, and Thailand. I repeat the names: Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore, and Thailand. These countries are the ones who fall in the region of Southeast Asia. They are the founding member countries of this ASEAN, and they signed this Bangkok Declaration. As a result, they became the member states of this ASEAN, and later on Myanmar and this Vietnam. These 2 countries are also nowadays, these 2 countries have also become a member of ASEAN, and now total strength, I tell you, the total strength of this formation, that is ASEAN, is 10. Unlike the EU, there is little desire in ASEAN for supranational structure institutions. Before we proceed with the workings or the objectives of ASEAN, I will like to explain you the fact that there is a great difference in the objective, or there is a great difference in the aspiration of European Union and ASEAN. European Union, it has always been having the aspiration of turning into a supranational organization, a very powerful one. while ASEAN is totally based on regional peace and stability, that is totally based on the rule of law, the rule of peace, which is which is already suggested by the United Nations Charter. These are the countries, the basic difference behind their aspirations is that the member states of European Union are those countries which have always been powerful ones. These are the countries, I must say, who have always ruled the world. While these Southeast Asian countries, they had a painful history of colonialism, they had a painful history of poverty, they have been having a painful history of the problem of unification of the nation, their conflicts related to their borders and poverty, illiteracy, and number of other issues. That is the basic reason that their aspirations is not at all to turn into a supranational organization. Their basic aspiration, their basic objective is to solve every dispute which falls amongst the countries of the member state of ASEAN only and only through dialogue, only and only through peaceful manner. With some of the fastest growing economies in the world, of course, ASEAN is turning into a powerful association. It is one of those economies which are the fastest growing. And in 2003, ASEAN moved along the path of the EU by agreeing to establish an ASEAN community comprising three pillars, namely the ASEAN Security Community, the ASEAN Economic Community, and the ASEAN Socio-Cultural Community. Now they started moving towards the way of European Union, the way European Union is having its common flag, it's having its common founding date, it's having its common currency. Exactly in the same manner, like ASEAN has also gone quite a long way in its path in becoming a strong organization. And in this sense only, ASEAN has three dimensions, that is ASEAN Security Community, ASEAN Economic Community, and ASEAN Socio-Cultural Community. About these three communities, about these three pillars of ASEAN, I will be discussing in my next lecture. Thank you.